Okay, if we recap, after a long weekend, we have done with AR invoice import, and we have seen a couple of, UI related setups, how to find the manage journal sources and, journal categories, and, already how to find the code combinations and all. And we do have 4 interface tables. Likely we are going to use 2 interface tables like RA interface lines all on RA interface distribution all table. These are 2 tables we are going to use in the real time. So very rare scenarios RA interface sales credits all and RA interface contacts all. So how will you find related these information setups is nothing but again is the source transaction source. Always you need to refer whichever transaction source type is imported. When you, if it's the type is manual is nothing but that is dedicated for application perspective. When you create a transaction from UI, the moment you can use, which is transaction manual type. When you try to import the data from everyday process, the moment you can use a transaction source, which is imported type. Okay. And you can find transaction source related information there, like what are the IDs or values you need to use for payment terms and customer site, account number, and code combinations, the related information, ID or value. The radio buttons are there, just need to find the radio buttons. And how will you reject the invoice? And how will you find these grouping rules from manage descriptive flexi fields? The context functionality will be created, and this DFF fields cannot be enabled on your screen. These are hidden from application perspective. Mostly these hidden related context we can use for to import the data, which is in order to group the data from, and you can find these grouping rules from manage auto grouping rules task. This is completely functional work. Functional team will configure these things and they will provide you. Before that, they will try to push one transaction from this sheet and they will test the scenario and they will share with you, so that you can use the same replica of sheet. And from your end also need to test with one of the transaction. If it is looks good, once you take from business approval or functional approval, then you may proceed for bulk import. And the last class we have seen, which is the positive scenario. 3 transactions got successfully imported and the data got deleted from your interface table. When the data transferred from interface table to base table, all the data can be deleted from your interface table. How the data can be identified from interface table? What is the source? How you are identify your interface table data when you are submitting main import process, which is import AR invoice? Anyone? How will you find your interface table data for your main import process? Does anyone remember the parameters? Main import process parameters. Anyone?
Business unit and transaction source.
Sorry?
Business unit and transaction source.
Yeah, business unit and transaction source. If the combination, the data is available, obviously it will try to pick all the data and process to the base table. The way in the real time, the dedicated user can be work on this everyday process. Since we do not have any identification, this is your data, this is my data. For the same business units, for the same transaction source, if you are upload the data for multiple users, if any one of the user will submit this combination for main import AR, main import process, automatically data will pick for other users as well. So be careful when you are working with this AR invoice. Always a dedicated user needs to be work on this AR everyday process. Okay. Now today we'll see failure scenarios. Today we'll see the negative scenarios, how we can reprocess if it is failure, and what are the errors, how it will be generate the errors, that is we'll see now. So this is our data. Just I'm trying to failure 30 net. Just try to delete E here in middle 30 net. we are trying to pass invalid information, and we'll try to keep one positive records and two failure records in it. And this is customer, try to delete some letter, shift to site number, invalid shift to site number, and the currency code just keep on the same. Try to change the flexi field segment combinations here. 1, 2, 3 is there. Just I'm trying to pick 4, and this is 6, and this is 2. Line 202. I'm trying to keep the same transaction flexi field segment here. Existing one. We'll see, since this is a positive record, we do not have any invalid data, but we are going to use the earlier existing combination. We'll see how it will behave and what are the errors we may see for this row. The same here also, the distributions 204 and this is 206. So what are the errors we need to get here? There are invalid payment terms and invalid customer site number. We'll do site number for 2 records. We'll see. So this is once instructions CSV generation. Just click on generate CSV file and scenario. Just click on a save. So what is the process 1 or stage 1 where I need to navigate? Yogesh, yeah, Shinde, where I need to navigate in order to submit stage 1. Guide me here now. Since we do have long, you have the long weekend, right? You guys get a chance to practice the everyday process, especially junior guys. Did you guys practice? You need to speak here. If it is yes or no, whatever it may be. I don't have any issue, just I'm getting the confirmation. Did you guys practice? Okay, at least let me know what is here, the job name, where I need to navigate in order to submit stage 1. Almost we done, BAP reports and everyday process, everything we have been completed, right? Since you guys don't know.
Schedule and process, sir.
Sorry?
Schedule and process.
Schedule and process. So what is stage 1?
Load interface file for input.
Okay, good. So need to navigate schedule process in order to submit the ESS job, which is stage 1, load interface file for import. Just click on OK. And what is the process name?
Import trading means TCA.
Import trading.
Community architecture.
That is for customers, right, Yogesh?
We shall, sir. We shall here.
Sorry?
We shall here.
Not getting
Shinde. So I'm Vishal Shinde.
Shinde, yeah, just I'm talking to you Shinde. Import community, that is for customers, right? Yeah, customers.
Import trading community data in bulk.
Yeah, that is for customers. Import trading community data in bulk, that is for process name for AR customers. So what is the import process name for AR invoices? Within the name itself, you can identify AR invoice. Just you need to add import in the prefix import auto invoice. is import auto invoice. So you guys are not practicing. Just you are listening the sessions only. These junior guys. This is import auto invoice. Just try to select the same. The data file. So what would be happen when you submit the load interface file for imports? Anyone? What would be happen when you submit the load interface file for import? In the background, what would be happen? Anyone can give the answer for this?
Data will be imported into the interface tables.
Yeah, exactly. So how it will insert the data to the interface table in the background? What would be happen to the background?
So in the background, interface tables will get loaded with this data by inserting the new records.
So that is the technical. How can we explain to the interviewers if we get a same question as the interview,
Oh, okay.
right?
It
As a
runs
technical,
SQL
we
loader
need to,
program.
sorry?
It runs SQL loader programs in the
Yeah,
backend.
how it runs SQL loaded program. Since we have submitted many times, right? Load interface file for import. So when you get a question for this, you need to provide an answer like this. The load interface file for import will submit the child ESH job, which is the first one transfer file. It will push the file to the UCM location, our flat file, to the respective UCM account. Immediately we'll get a question, how the system, how the ESH job will find you to UCM account. So immediately you need to find out this UCM account I can find from OER, Oracle Enterprise Repository everyday process. There I can see the UCM account. Let's assume finance, in our case, finance receivables imports. In that location, with help of transfer file ESS job, it will push the file to UCM location. Immediately load in file to interface. If I have two CSV files, then it will submit two ESH job, which is load file interface for each interface table, and it will insert the data into interface table with help of SQL loader. So immediately we'll get a question. If something is happened, if there is something data issue, how the data will import your interface table. I have 10 records. So does it allow for the 5 records? If I have any errors,
No partial imports.
does it allow
No,
for partial imports?
it does not allow partial import.
Sorry?
It will not allow.
It will.
Yeah, it won't allow the partial import, especially for the load file to interface. All the records can be rolled back. It will generate a bad file for us. There you need to find the errors. Again, you need to reiterate the process and it will push the data to your interface table, which is 100%. It won't accept for partial import. Guys, you need to practice here. Just try to refresh here. See here, immediately transfer file and load file to interface. How the load file interface? Nothing but it is integrated with a SQL loader command. Obviously, always it will try to insert the data, which is append mode. Append mode. So how will you find this append mode and this control files and all? How will you find these control files for your SQL loader? SQL loader is nothing but it will run on again background of control file. So will you find this control file structure? Is it possible to see the control file? Guys, is it possible to see the control file for your SQL loader, for your interface table? Say yes or no, yeah. If you don't know, I will explain. If you know, at least provide you Whether it
No, sir.
Yes, it is possible.
possible, right? How?
From OER.
Yeah, from OER against everyday process, you can find your control file, schedule process name, and your interface table names, and interface table structure. Everything you can find from OER. Okay. Now your data in your interface table. Let's connect to the table and we'll query the data. New data model. Array interface lines of by creation date DEC. No coding, nothing, just need to remember the process here. So this is the first three records are hours data, line 206, 202, 204. So let's submit the main import process name. So what is the main import process name here?
Auto invoice.
What's the main import process name?
Import
Auto invoice.
Auto invoice. Just click on OK. Here we do have set of parameters, business unit, transaction source. So our business unit is, this is our business unit, and this is our transaction source. Just try to submit the process. Will you find the errors for this process? Anyone recollect the information? Will you find the errors for this process?
From RA interface errors all table.
That is table perspective, right?
Okay.
Look in the report, review report, we can see.
Import auto invoice will submit a child ESS job, which is import auto invoice execution report. The execution report itself is nothing but a BAP report. The BAP report itself fetching the data from your RA interface error solve table, and it will display the data in the report format, which is PDF. You will find the complete summary, which is a detailed statistics of your run. Okay. This is import auto invoice. And this is succeeded. Immediately submitted execution report in order to, generate the output with the help of RA interface error solve table. So no need to connect again the table, just you need to provide this execution report output to the user, so that user will try to rectify the errors in your data. Select the ESA job and try to get the output here. This is my output. Try to download. Okay, so here if you observe, this is selected 3 interface lines, selected 3 interface distributions here, all are in the rejected status, the negative scenarios. Now we'll see the errors here. See here it is saying the transaction flex fields legacy EBS source line 202. In this combination, for this combination, there is an error. The way you can identify, this is your row, transaction row in your FPDA sheet. So here, this is legacy, EBS source, and line 202. This is my row. In this row, this report is saying there is an error. So what is the error? Each line must have a unique combination of interface line context and line attribute values for the transaction flex field. Transaction number is something 8,000. Customer transaction ID is so and so. It will try to generate a transaction number. It will try to create a transaction, but already this combination is available in your base table. It is saying already this combination is available in your base table. The reason I cannot process this record as a transaction. So always this combination should be a unique. So what we need to pass the value here instead of 202? Any other value, which is 205.
5.
So that this record in a positive mode now. Just correct the record 5 and immediately correct the record here also. Now this is a unique record. Okay. The same way you can see the next transaction flex field, legacy, EBS source, line 204. Line 204 combination. The payment terms names. Term name is invalid 30 ND. The payment terms name, which is term name, is invalid 30 ND. And transaction flex field line 206. Here also the payment terms is invalid. That is the error. So always it will try to generate only one error. It won't give you complete consolidated errors in your sheet. So for the line 206 or line 204, we do have two errors, right? Once you corrected this error, immediately you will get an error, invalid customer site number for the same record. Okay. Now we will try to correct the data here. Reprocess. For the reprocess, the net valid record, and this is shift to customer site number is keep the same error record. We'll try to correct this last record. Now scenario 6th and 7th, these last two records are positive. Still 5th record there is an error. Even though we are corrected 13 net, there is error with invalid site number. We will see now. Already this data is available in interface table. Now we are trying to correct the data, and it's time to upload the corrected data. So before uploading, you need to parse the data from your interface table. Otherwise, you have these 3 records plus whenever you imported your corrected data, 3 plus these 6 records would be available. When you submit your main import for the same business unit and transaction source combination, these 3 plus 3 records can be picked, and it will try to keep on validate all these 6 records. Okay. Again, it will generate an error for these 3 records along with your 4th record error record, and those 2 records can successfully process to your base table. The way you will get the complete error information for your existing data as well. In order to avoid errors for your existing data, you need to parse your data from your interface table. So what is the parameter for parse interface tables? What are the parameters required?
Load request ID.
Sorry? Someone said answer. What, sir?
Load request ID.
Yeah, we need to get the load request ID. This is my load request ID. Just copy the load request ID and schedule a process. Purge interface tables. Just click on OK. And its import process name is import auto invoice. This is import auto invoice and to load request ID. We are trying to pass single request ID. If you want to pass enable load range request ID, just you can enable so that from and to request ID you can submit. Just try to submit the process. Just click on OK. So it will pass the data. Before that, we will try to generate the CSV file. Objective 1. Just click on save. Just click on OK. Now just try to view, refresh the data. Now there is no data for your interface. Everything got deleted successfully. Again, iterate the process. And select your data file. So it will transfer the file to the USM location. From there onwards, I unzip the file and load file to interface PSA jobs get submitted and insert the data into your interface tables. This is completed. Now you can refresh here. Again, you can see the data here. This is your data. Now schedule new process, submit the main import. Just click on OK. So you have the business unit. Business unit and this is my transaction source. And submit the process. Auto invoice completed successfully. Now it is generating the execution report for us. Now you can refresh the data here. Still there are errors with 3 records, line 206, 205, 204. Why do we have In 3R error status. The ship to customer account number is invalid for line 204. This is valid error. Only one error it is showing. So why is the rest of the error status? We're not sure why it is failing. In general, it should be push two records, right?
Is it because it does not allow partial input or something like that?
No, it will allow the partial input.
Okay.
It will allow the partial input. Records is deleted from the interface table as well.
Okay.
It consider the single invoice because of grouping rule.
No, we are process a unique values, right? For each record, there is no relationship from one record to another record. Not sure. Just you can keep on trying. It will import the data as a partial. Okay, no problem. In general, it will push the data. Once you initiate the data here, let's assume try to pass transaction date. The default. 2020 615. Submit. Not an issue since it will override the dates. It's not showing any error also. Not sure why it is. Okay. So we are done with everyday process. Any doubts, any clarifications? Still on everyday process. Anyone? So before jumping to the new topic, I will give you one assessment for you for this everyday process. Can you guys try to achieve the same? Very simple one. Just try to load the suppliers. Suppliers, right? SCM. Suppliers, it's the same or procurement, I guess.
And Vijay, one question here, like when we refer this document, so we have only the latest documents available there, or like
Yeah,
Oracle
yeah.
keeps.
Whichever latest is here, you can see.
Okay,
Even A now. Just go to the latest release here. Now we are in 21C.
okay,
Application also 21C here.
okay.
21C.
And what is that
So,
11.13? Like
sorry.
there are two versions. Like this is 21C, and in bracket there is another version. So what does that
It is
mean?
here itself.
Yeah, if you see the version details. Yeah, correct.
This is some application detail version. R13 is nothing but our, in general, Oracle is saying Fusion application is R13.
Oh,
Where
okay.
in our earlier version is R12, right? EBS. R13 is nothing but our Fusion application. 21 is nothing but it's 21. C is nothing but their identification, which is 7 is nothing but.
Mhm.
So here, this is supplier model. This is suppliers related. In generally for suppliers, POZ suppliers, POZ supplier sites, POZ supplier contacts, and so on. So we do have supplier tables, right? So here, especially for supplier everyday process, we do have a separate sheet for each interface table. We do not have a single sheet for all the interface table. Same as your customer, same as your invoices. But our invoice AR customer, we have a single sheet for all interface tables, right? But whereas, especially for supplier everyday process, you do have, a separate sheet for each interface table. So this is import supplier. Just click on import suppliers and try to click on suppliers template here. This is supplier import control file, and this is your interface table, and this is your process name. This is your supplier template. Only one interface table is available, POZ suppliers interface table. Nothing but it will insert the data into your POZ suppliers table, which is a base table. This is batch ID is not required. Just you can keep the blank. Import action, create or update. Here, whichever you want, you can use. This is supplier name and tax organization type, supplier type, business relationship, and so on information. You can get it from here. Before that, try to create a supplier from UI. So will you create a supplier from UI here? Here procurement. There is a procurement. There is a suppliers.
नहीं उसीरा नहीं है वो तो मतलब होगा रोक देगी
Keep on mute here.
मैं
This is supplier screen here. Just try to create a supplier here. Register or create a supplier. And whichever you are trying to populate to create a supplier as a mandatory, the same information you can try to pass from your everyday sheet and try to fulfill your everyday process and try to create a transactions from your everyday process. And let me know if you face any issues, we'll see. Try to create a supplier and supplier site. You can fulfill these two processes. Obviously, you will get an issues. Let me know what are the issues you will get. That is, I want to know whether you are working or not. Can you guys practice this everyday process? This is very simple everyday process. Just try to populate the information for your suppliers and supplier addresses and supplier sites. Very simple, everyday process this is. Please practice this supplier everyday process and let me know if you see any issues. We can work on things. You may get some access issues also. Let me know you will get any access issue so that we can rectify. You guys practice it. Will do the practice or not? You guys let me know, yeah, yes or no.
Practice.
Yeah, especially junior guys. Yogesh,
Yes.
Shinde, and Priya.
Yes, sir. Practicing from.
Yeah, and let me know if you face any issues. Obviously,
Yes.
n number of issues, let me know so that you will get the process at least. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now we are move on to the next new topic, which is the most important and which is a trending subject for us now. The current world, this is most trending subject and the trending topic, which is integrations. Oracle Integration Cloud. So why Oracle Integration Cloud came into picture? Anyone has any idea? Why OIC will come into picture?
To customize,
Sorry?
for customization.
No.
Integrate with third party.
Yeah, third party. In order to extend the data between a legacy systems to the Oracle system or Oracle systems to the legacy systems. If you want to transmit the data or extend the data, let's assume I have a Siemens system and I have Oracle system over Fusion application. I have A and B, two systems are there, Fusion and Siemens or Siemens and Fusion. I want to extend the data for Siemens systems to the Oracle system, nothing but there is a opportunities. You know that this service module, right? Sales and service module, opportunities and ports. Let's assume or you can correlate like this. Siemens created a purchase order. Siemens created a purchase order. I want to create the same purchase order in my Oracle system. I want to create same or purchase order in my Oracle system. The client is engaged with these two systems, Siemens and Oracle system. So then in your mind immediately there is a question. Already Siemens is creating the purchase order. So again, why we are creating the same purchase order in our Oracle system? Nothing but the system is designed like that, such like that Siemens needs to create a purchase order. The rest of business would be processed in our Oracle system. The purchase order payment, and based on the purchase order, I am trying to create a sales order. The rest of business will be processed in our Oracle system. Okay, the way we need to transfer the data from Siemens to your Oracle system. So how you are transfer the data between these two systems? You need to connect these two systems, right? You need to enable a connection. You need to establish the connection between these systems. Earlier, for the same concept, we are going to use SOA. SOA is act as a middleware layer in order to connect these two systems, to transfer the data between these two systems. For the same process, SOA is displaced with ICS or OIC, Oracle Integration Cloud. This will act as a middleware layer in order to transfer the data between your legacy systems to your target system. Your always target system, it is your Oracle system. Legacy system could be anything. In our scenario, one of the legacy system is Siemens. And one more legacy system is our EBS R12 system. The way Oracle is as of now have 50 plus pre-built adapters. 50 plus pre-built adapters is there for their voice application. Nothing but if you want to connect a Siemens system, already Oracle is established a complete configurations for your voice, for your Siemens system to connect to voice system. In your voice, just select Siemens adapter or select the Siemens system, provide your Siemens system related login information and try to connect your Siemens system. That's it. So that it will transfer the data to your Oracle system. Whichever data is there, just try to consume the data and push to your Oracle system. Okay, Oracle is providing this pre-built adapters for Siemens system, pre-built adapter for your Oracle system, and pre-built adapter for your EBS system. The way we do have 50 plus systems are there. These systems we are connecting with help of adapters. or nothing but plugins. Still you are able to see OER screen? Yes, yes. I'm not sharing. Yeah, I'm not scrolling anything here. Just I'm telling the story. Okay. So this is about OIC. So in order to work with OIC, the prerequisites are you need to learn the web services and REST APIs. So again, web service and REST APIs, why came into picture is nothing but as of now, we are submitted the load interface file for import and import process, the main import, stage 1 and stage 2 ESS jobs, which are in manual process. It's not possible to submit this everyday process every day as a manual process, right? We need to automate the process. In order to automate the process, this everyday process, in order to automate the process, web service and REST APIs will come into picture. With help of web service and REST APIs, you need to automate the process. So how will you automate the process? You need to automate the process with help of voice. Okay. So before developing an integration, thoroughly you need to test your web service or REST APIs with the proper inputs. You need to test your web services and REST APIs with the proper inputs and use those web services and REST APIs in your integrations and automate the process. Okay. So first you need to learn how to test the web service and how to find the web service. What are the web service components or categories we do have and how to test it. The same way, how to find the REST APIs and REST API structure and how to test the REST APIs. First, we'll see these two things. Then after, we'll jump on to integration developments. Okay. First, how will you find the web services for your business entities? Again, here business entity is nothing but it could be anything against your requirements. So how will you find your web services? The web services you can find from your OER or developer connect from your application. Just go to the application here, the tools. This is developer connect. So these are all your web services. Let's assume I want to see the purchase order web service. This is my purchase order web service here, purchase order service version 2, which is an active version, which is purchase order is deprecated. We cannot use this. Always you need to get an active web service here. So journal import. This is my journal import. Just click on the journal import web service. So this is my journal import web service endpoint URL. This is my web service URL. This is my WSDL file. WSDL file is nothing but your endpoint URL. Endpoint URL. With help of endpoint URL, you can find all your associate methods against your web service, which is import journals. For this journal, this is my endpoint URL. So what are the methods it has? Just click on the next tab here. Here, these many methods I have. Import journals, get service last update time, get entity list, get DLF object attribute hints. So in real time, we can use only one method, which is import journals. Create journals in the journal interface table. So what this method will do, when you execute this method with the proper inputs, it will insert the data into your interface table, which is GL interface table. Couple of integrations will insert the data into the interface table. Couple of web services will insert the data directly into your base table. So this depends on your web service. Okay, the same information you can find here. The financials, and here integrate. There is a section last integrate. Just navigate to the integrate, and here connect with the REST APIs, discover the web services. Just click on review SOAP web services, expand the same. You can find here journal, right? Journal, just click on the journal. This is journal. This is my endpoint URL. The same you can find here. HTTPS server name is nothing but you need to paste your, copy paste your application server name. This is my application server name. Server name it will call this is EEBB test us2 oracle cloud.com is server name, followed by FSC service, general import service, followed by Wisdom. The same you can find your developer connect. This is general import service and the Wisdom, the same. And it has 4 methods. These are operations. It supports 4 operations. Import journals followed by the same. When you click on the import journals, you can find import journals input values. Here, whichever input values we called as a payload. That is called, we call as a request payload. Whichever inputs we called as a request payload, whenever it is executed, it will get some response for us. The response nothing but response payload. So in generally, this is you can correlate with your PL SQL packages. Okay. Here, when you create a package, your package can contain n number of procedures and functions, right? So if I want to execute in a procedure, package.procedure followed by inputs, followed by outputs. So whenever you invoke your procedure, it will perform the business logic and it will return the data to your out variables and it will return the out parameters, right? The same kind of logic here it works. The inputs we call as the request payload, the output we call as the response payload. The same way, each web service or REST API will connect with your internal PL SQL packages. We cannot see those PL SQL packages, just we can see the web service and REST APIs. Each web service can connect your PL SQL signature. Nothing but this is import journals is nothing but your package name and this is your procedure names. Just you can correlate like that. These are procedure names. If you want to export this import journals, what are the input parameter response payload is required is nothing but the request payload is journal interface header. Just click on the journal interface header. The journal interface header attributes nothing but the input values are these are the input parameters, the input values, the input attributes for request payload. These are input attributes. Again, in this input attributes, we have one more child process is there. Journal interface. This is JL. Just click on the same. This contain actual input attributes here. This complete your GL interface table columns. You need to fulfill this data in order to create your GL transaction to your interface table. Okay. If something is wrong, if you provide invalid data, itself it validates the data and will throw an error. If you provide invalid period, so it will throw an error invalid period. If you provide invalid category, it will throw an error invalid category, like that. The way you can find all your web services followed by respective associated operations. The same way here you can find the third tab is review the service data objects, nothing but what are the inputs is required for this. So here GL interface, you can expand here. This is your GL interface attributes. Again, inside we have one more process, GL interface. This is GL interface. Just click on the same. Find your complete GL interface related attributes here. Here you can find what is the required, what is the not required. You can find yes, when you click on the yes, you can find the required attributes here. In order to create GL transaction, this is required attributes. You can find all the information here. The fourth tab is privileges. In order to execute any web service on REST API, okay, you need to add a privilege role to the user. So what is that privilege role to the user is nothing but, for example, I want to execute an import journals. I want to be execute an import journal. For that import journal, this is my privilege role. GL run import journals via program called privilege. This is in a privilege role. Need to add this privilege role to the user so that you will get an access in order to execute this import journals. Or instead of this role, you can add one default role to the user, which is integration specialist. You need to add one default role, which is a job role, integration specialist. These integration specialist role can override all these privilege roles, and you, by default, you will get an access to test for any web service. Some of the web service require a special privilege roles like this. You need to get that and add to the user, but 99% you will get a default role access, the default privilege access when you add integration specialist role to the user, so that you will try to execute, you will get an access to execute any web service. Add an integration specialist role for finance and SCM and CRM track. For human capital management, you need to add human capital management integration specialist role. Okay. For HCM track, you need to add human capital management integration specialist role. Rest of integration, rest of HCM track, you need to add integration specialist role. Okay. So the way here, this is
Vijay, for financials, is it like a just integration specialist?
yeah, the both finance, SAM, and CRM. Just integration specialist role is enough for us.
Okay.
Web service calls. So the way here, this is fixed assets. If you want to work with your fixed assets, this is fixed assets. So here, immediately you have a one question here. Already we have an everyday service available for this journal. What will do the everyday service? Everyday business entity, nothing but it will push the data into your interface table. The same here also, the same journal web service will try to insert the data into your interface table. So why do you have these two business entities? Same business entities, we have an everyday process, we do have a journal, we do have a REST API. You can find the same REST API also for the same business entity. The way for each business entity, almost, it's not an 100%, almost you will have 3 processes are available: web service, REST API, and everyday process. So which one we need to choose when you are working with these process? Nothing but if you have a bulk data, obviously you can go for everyday process. If you have the bulk transactions, high volume of data, can go for everyday process in order to process, and it will very easy to find the errors when you work with everyday process, and it will take minimal time in order to push the data into your interface tables. These journals and REST APIs will insert the data record by record in your interface tables. Record by record, not the bulk process at a time. It will insert the data into your interface table, which is record by record. If you have low volume of data, I want to create a transaction which is a real-time transaction. Let's assume Siemens created a journal. I want to create the same journal immediately in my system whenever Siemens is created. Okay, the moment you can go for this web service and REST APIs to perform the real-time transactions data. Real-time transaction data is nothing but transaction to transaction from legacy systems to Oracle system. Okay, you will get the difference, right? when you can use for web service, REST API, when you can use for everyday process.
Vijay, I have a question though, like because these web services are on Oracle side, right?
Yes.
So, like, let's say we want to create a journal from Siemens. So Siemens has to consume this service at their end, right? Because we
No,
don't have that data.
Siemens, no. At the top of the integration, we will expose a custom web service.
Mhm.
Interface, at top of the integration, we will execute a custom integration. Sorry, custom. It will expose a custom web service. These custom web service consumed by Siemens system. In their system, they will embed our custom web service followed by the input attributes. Whenever the
Okay.
data is committed, automatically our integration will be triggered. Data will go to the Oracle system. That is for transaction data, nothing real-time transaction data. If it is bulk data, everyday process, nothing but scheduled based integration. That needs to be triggered. Our own, we can schedule the process and trigger the job. That is for bulk process. Client will place the file in your UCM, in your WinSCP application, WinSCP tool. Simply we can consume the file from server location and process the everyday process. Again, this load interface file for import and this main import process will submit with the help of the web service. That is, we'll see in detail one by one.
Okay.
So
Like my question was like there will be some work involved in at the other end as well, right? Not
yeah,
just in
their end.
Oracle.
They will, yeah, every system does have a capability to trigger other systems web services.
Okay.
And where is the mapping is being maintained, like between these columns and on the
Yeah, that is we'll see in detail further classes.
And Vijay, when you said that FBDI is for bulk import, right?
Yes.
So, but that file is been generated manually only, right? It would be placed in the server, then we'll pick up.
They will place the file in their server, which is in a simple Excel sheets or simple text files. We need to convert the data into our actual FBDI format.
So that would be like a manual process only, right?
Yeah, that is a manual process. Those type of transformations we'll do in our integrations. There is a file activity.
Yeah. Because the question why I'm asking is if it is a bulk data, and also there can be a lot of manual errors, right? Sometimes users while copying and pasting also we may encounter different errors.
Yeah, that is client headache, how they are trying to generate the data.
Okay.
They will generate the data and place the file in our their server location. We will connect to their server location and get the file, download the file, read the file, and create the transactions to the journals. If any errors are there, again error mechanism would be different client to client. Some client is expecting notifications. Some clients are expecting only request IDs.
Okay.
So that they
in that case, it is a better way to go with the automation. Means it would be like either web services or REST API, right? It would be
and
more
everyday process, both everyday process as well. Also, if you are getting lakhs of transactions, it's not possible to process with a web service and REST APIs.
Okay.
Consuming process.
Is there a limit, like how many transactions?
No, there is no limit. There is no limit. You can.
Okay. No. On the on the FBDI, there is no limit, but in the web services also.
Web service, no limit since no limit since in a loop we are trying to process the transactions.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Once we start the integrations, once we're done with the file activities, we'll get to know these things clearly. Okay. Okay. That's it for today. Tomorrow we'll start with our web services. Before that, you need to install this SOAP UI tool. This is SOAP UI tool for web services testing. This is freeware, just you can download from the Google. SOAP UI tool for web services testing, and the Postman. This is the Postman tool for REST APIs testing. You need to download and install these two tools in order to test web service and REST APIs. Along with this, I am trying to copy one YouTube URL in order to register one of the OIC trial account, which is 30 days trial account. Any one of the team member, please register from your end. Just I'm trying to send to everyone. Just copy the URL. Anyone try to register Oracle Cloud account. Just you can create Oracle free cloud account for 30 days. You will get a subscription for 30 days so that we can use this account for database cloud service. I will provide OIC access, but we need a database DBCS access. The DBCS access will come with your trial account. So it will charge a zero amount from your credit card. It requires your credit card details. Just it will deduct a zero amount from your credit card. After trial account, it will try to request, please purchase your permanent account. So no need to purchase permanent account. 30 days account is more enough for us to see DBCS practice. Anyone try to register, Sripad or someone. Can you please register yourself and try to share your account details with me so that I will configure DBCS. Please go through this video. This is Ankur Jain video. He will explain that clearly how to perform, create trial account. Okay. Please copy this URL here. Once we close this, I will close this. Again, you will lose this URL. Thanks to everyone. We'll connect tomorrow same time. We'll see web service testing with a SOAP UI tool. Have a nice day. We'll connect tomorrow same time.